Paul George. The NBA suspended him 25 games for violating the league's anti-drug program.
You took some enhancement drugs to make you better on the court, but then you blame it on mental.
Paul George has reportedly been handed a shocking 25-game suspension, and the unexpected timing has stunned the basketball world. Just after speaking publicly about the stress, pressure, and mental health medication he had been using, reports claimed the league issued a major disciplinary decision that immediately became one of the biggest stories in the NBA. What has fueled even more speculation, however, are claims that league officials may have quietly discussed the possibility of a reduced penalty in exchange for cooperation. That revelation has left many fans asking the same question: who were they hoping would be identified? Let's take a closer look, because this situation goes far beyond an ordinary headline. It has the potential to significantly impact the entire season. At the center of it all is Paul George, a 9-time NBA All-Star, one of the league's most recognizable players, and the star the Philadelphia 76ers committed more than $200 million to in hopes of returning the franchise to championship contention. Now, with little public warning, he is reportedly facing a 25-game suspension without pay, suddenly disappearing from the lineup and leaving fans, teammates, and the basketball world searching for answers about what really happened behind the scenes. There is no doubt this was far from a routine disciplinary action. Under the NBA and National Basketball Players Association's Banned Substances Program, a 25-game suspension is generally reserved for violations the league considers extremely serious. According to the reported timeline, the announcement was made on January 31, 2026, and became effective immediately before Philadelphia's scheduled game against the New Orleans Pelicans later that evening. Imagine preparing for a crucial game, fully focused on helping your team win, only to discover just before tip-off that you will be sidelined for the next 2.5 months. A decision like that affects much more than the starting lineup. It sends shockwaves throughout the locker room, forces the coaching staff to adjust its strategy, puts pressure on the front office, and changes the direction of an entire season. The 76ers did not simply lose another player. They were suddenly without one of their biggest stars, a reliable scorer, an experienced leader, and someone expected to perform in the biggest moments. Another reason this story has attracted so much attention is that the NBA does not publicly reveal the exact banned substance involved in these cases, choosing instead to keep that information confidential. However, league policy has historically associated a 25-game suspension with certain performance-enhancing substance violations rather than recreational drug use or accidental misunderstandings. It is also worth noting that cannabis has not been included on the NBA's banned substances list since 2023, meaning that explanation would not align with the league's current policy.
So last Tuesday against the Bucks, PG had 35, 5 and 5, hit 9 threes.
Yeah, that got him tested.
And then ended up getting suspended a few days later on that Saturday.
Being injured for so long.
Whatever caused the positive test was clearly serious enough for the league to act without delay while releasing very little information to the public. That lack of detail has only increased speculation, with many people wondering whether there is more to the story than has been officially revealed. When a suspension of this magnitude is announced so suddenly, it naturally raises questions about what remains confidential and what the league decides to share. As a result, the spotlight has shifted directly onto Paul George while many important details remain unknown. Shortly after the suspension became public, George released an official statement through ESPN's Shams Charania that appeared thoughtful and carefully written. In his statement, he explained that he has been open for years about his mental health and revealed that, while seeking treatment for a personal issue, he mistakenly took medication that was not allowed under NBA rules. He accepted complete responsibility for what happened and made no attempt to place the blame on anyone else. George also offered a heartfelt apology to his family, the Philadelphia 76ers organization, his teammates, and the fans, admitting that he had let down those who had supported him. He added that he remains committed to taking care of his mental health and is determined to return to the court as both a stronger player and a better person. His message was calm, respectful, and free from excuses or unnecessary controversy. On the surface, it reflected the kind of mature and accountable response many would expect from an experienced veteran facing a difficult situation. To be fair, this part of Paul George's story was not entirely unexpected. Over the years, he has spoken honestly about his struggles with anxiety and depression, particularly during the 2020 NBA bubble and following difficult playoff defeats. He has also discussed those experiences on his own podcast, making his recent comments about mental health consistent with what he has shared publicly in the past. That history gave additional credibility to his statement and helped many people view it as genuine. Even so, the timeline has continued to generate debate. Just 3 days before reports of the suspension surfaced, on January 28, Paul George delivered one of his best performances of the season against the Milwaukee Bucks. He scored 32 points and knocked down 9 three-pointers in an outstanding victory that immediately caught the attention of basketball fans. Considering he had spent much of the season dealing with injuries, playing in only 27 games while missing another 20, his sudden return to elite form stood out even more. After months of inconsistency, he looked confident, explosive, and remarkably close to his best. Performances like that naturally attract attention, and some former players, including Gilbert Arenas and members of his podcast, publicly questioned whether such an impressive outing might have led to increased scrutiny from the league. While there is no confirmed evidence connecting that game to any testing or investigation, many observers have speculated that an unexpected jump in performance can sometimes result in closer attention under existing league procedures. Regardless of those theories, the events that followed clearly did not work in George's favor. The financial impact of the suspension also makes the situation even more significant. After signing a 4-year contract worth approximately $212 million with the Philadelphia 76ers in 2024, Paul George was reportedly set to earn around $51.7 million during the 2025-26 season, which breaks down to nearly $469,000 for every game played. As a result, a 25-game suspension without pay would amount to an estimated financial loss of almost $11.7 million, making the punishment significant both on and off the court. At this point in his career, every season has become increasingly important. After turning 35 in 2025 and overcoming multiple injuries throughout the years, every opportunity to compete carries even greater value. The suspension is expected to sideline him until late March 2026, preventing him from helping the 76ers during one of the most important stretches of the regular season as they fight for playoff positioning. Altogether, the situation presents a major obstacle both financially and professionally, while the combination of George's public statement, the timing of his impressive performance, and the league's decision to release only limited information continues to raise questions and fuel speculation among fans and basketball analysts alike.
Just a minute, you're getting older here, you're feeling the weight of that contract, you want to make sure that you're a good player on the Philadelphia 76ers. You took some enhancement drugs to make you better on the court, but then you blame it on mental health.
I mean, it's not
mental health.
Rocket science here. I mean, the fact that he deflected it and made it about mental health was just crazy. Just own it and move on, because, Donnie, nobody will care in another week. And that'll be...
Many people believe that situations this significant rarely unfold without a much bigger story developing behind the scenes, which helps explain why the conversation has continued long after the suspension was announced. Paul George is reportedly expected to become eligible to return when the Philadelphia 76ers host the Chicago Bulls, leaving him with only about 10 regular season games to rediscover his rhythm before the playoffs begin. That is a very limited amount of time for a veteran player to rebuild his conditioning, sharpen his timing, and re-establish chemistry with his teammates before entering the most demanding stretch of the season. When the suspension was first reported, Philadelphia owned a 26-21 record, sat in 6th place in the Eastern Conference, and had put together a 4-game winning streak that suggested the team was finally finding its momentum. With Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George on the floor together, the 76ers appeared capable of challenging the top teams in the conference. Then, almost instantly, one member of that star trio was removed from the lineup for an extended period, forcing the organization to rethink its plans during a critical point in the season. Another detail that has received far less attention is that the NBA's anti-drug program allows players to request a therapeutic use exemption when they have a legitimate medical reason to use a substance that would otherwise be prohibited. Those exemptions are commonly granted for certain prescribed medications, including treatments for ADHD and other approved medical conditions. Based on the information that has been made public, however, Paul George reportedly did not receive that exemption before taking the medication involved. If that is accurate, failing to secure league approval beforehand may have been the procedural issue that led to the suspension. Even with that explanation, many important questions remain because George described the matter as being connected to his mental health without identifying the medication or explaining exactly how it violated league policy. Until verified details are released, those unanswered questions are likely to continue fueling discussion and speculation among fans and analysts. Rather than naming the medication, Paul George referred to it only as an improper medication, leaving many key details unexplained. That lack of information quickly sparked even more speculation because when facts are limited, people often begin filling the gaps with their own assumptions. It did not take long for reactions to spread throughout the basketball world, with media personalities, former players, and fans all sharing their opinions, while many questioned the official explanation. SportsGrid hosts Donnie and Joe wondered why an experienced veteran with access to top medical professionals would not have confirmed that any prescribed medication complied with league rules before taking it. On Inside the NBA, Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley both admitted they were surprised by the reports, while Barkley suggested the situation deserved closer examination, pointing out that although some league policies have changed over the years, violations involving banned substances are still treated with the highest level of seriousness. Stephen A. Smith also described the reported suspension as a major blow to Philadelphia's championship hopes, noting that losing a max contract player for 25 games creates a serious challenge for any title contender. Former players also joined the discussion, with Jeff Teague questioning whether George's recent scoring surge might have drawn additional attention from league officials, while also raising a broader debate about whether certain medications used for legitimate mental health treatment should carry such severe penalties if they are not intended to improve athletic performance. Others were much more skeptical. Some podcast hosts argued that George's explanation relied too heavily on vague language and suggested that the lack of specific details made it harder for the public to fully accept. Meanwhile, Shannon Sharpe and Chad Okocinco-Johnson discussed the situation from different viewpoints, agreeing that people can sympathize with someone's personal struggles while still expecting accountability for their actions. As expected, social media reacted immediately, with jokes, memes, and criticism spreading rapidly across the internet. Some users mocked George's recent performances, while others used the suspension to create entirely new narratives. A few even called for other NBA stars to be tested despite offering no evidence to support those claims, showing how quickly speculation can spread once a high-profile story captures public attention. Debate over the substance itself also continued, with some people guessing it may have involved a medication commonly prescribed for ADHD without the required exemption, while others suggested different possibilities based only on personal theories. None of those claims have been confirmed, but the unanswered questions have kept the discussion alive and even led to social media giving George several unwanted nicknames as the story continued to dominate basketball headlines.
Mental health. Listen, I can tell you too. Nigga 41 out there doing some other shit. Why we ain't testing him? They do.
$50 million on his body.
He do. What's up with Paul? Paul can't do it, but he can. No. You just can't get caught. That's the thing. Because, the NBA, they protect their players. That's what I already said. We had this conversation. The NBA protect their players. They're not going to give you the name of what it was. No, for sure. How many games did Bobby Porter get suspended for? Say it. 20 what?
25.
25. For what? Wait. Bobby Porter, remember? Last year he got in 25 games. Oh, I forgot.
Several analysts, including Ree Hughes, questioned why Paul George did not first speak with his agent, team doctors, or league officials before taking the medication. Many observers argued that a player with access to experienced medical experts and compliance staff should always confirm whether any treatment is allowed under NBA rules before using it. With a contract worth more than $50 million per season, many believe taking that extra step is simply part of the responsibility that comes with being a professional athlete. Because of that, the conversation has become about much more than league policies alone. It has also turned into a discussion about judgment, accountability, and how a single mistake or oversight can create enormous consequences. Regardless of how the situation is remembered in the future, this explanation is likely to remain closely connected to Paul George for years to come. One point repeatedly emphasized throughout the debate is that players at this level have every resource available to verify whether a medication has been approved before taking it. A brief conversation with team physicians, league compliance officials, or medical advisors could potentially prevent situations like this from ever happening. At the same time, it is important to remember that the public still does not know which specific substance led to the suspension because the NBA has not revealed that information and, under its standard policy, may never make it public. As a result, countless theories have surfaced online involving everything from prescription stimulants to performance-enhancing substances, but none of those claims have been officially confirmed. They remain speculation rather than established fact. Discussions on programs such as Gil's Arena have also highlighted that league rules involving certain medications can sometimes require detailed approval procedures, making it essential for players to verify every treatment before using it. While that context may help explain how misunderstandings can occur, it does not remove the responsibility to follow league regulations. Another topic that attracted widespread attention involved an unverified social media claim alleging that Paul George was offered a reduced suspension if he identified other players using banned substances. According to the rumor, he reportedly refused and accepted the full suspension instead. However, that claim has not been confirmed by the NBA or by major news organizations such as ESPN, the Associated Press, or The Athletic, meaning it should be viewed as an unverified rumor rather than an established fact. Even so, the strong reaction to the story showed how many fans believe professional sports operate under an unwritten code in which players rarely expose one another publicly. Analysts have also noted that the league's policy of keeping the specific substance confidential allows athletes to shape much of the public narrative through carefully prepared statements while avoiding additional personal embarrassment. To better understand the significance of these discussions, it is also important to remember that the NBA's anti-drug program has been in place since 1983, when the league introduced stricter policies in response to serious substance-related issues affecting professional basketball, making player education and compliance a key part of its long-term approach.